Nintendo revealed the first footage of their upcoming Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. And this is ironically a Zelda game that doesn't look like a Zelda game. And I say it's ironic because this is actually the first time since the CDI that you're actually playing as Zelda as opposed to playing as Link. Some people kind of jokingly refer to it as The Legend of Link in that sense. That actually would be kind of funny if the Legend of Link Echoes of Wisdom, but still, that's another thing entirely. But overall, not getting a whole lot of detail, but first impressions, I think this actually looks pretty fun. The art style, I'm not saying it's unique to the Zelda franchise, but I think the art style is fun for it. Not necessarily my favorite, but I really don't have anything against it. And the game mechanic, I think, is an interesting mechanic for it. And I do like the idea that it isn't basically Zelda playing the part of Link where she's doing exactly the same kind of thing as Link, and the combat's exactly the same. They're doing something unique with the character because Zelda's a completely different character. She possesses a completely different part of the Triforce. So it makes sense that they're going to kind of go about things in a different way. And that's another reason why I say this doesn't feel like a Zelda game, but as a different type of game in and of itself, I think this looks pretty cool. But there are some people kind of, let's say, trying to sow discord around this game by making accusations that, well, since you're playing as Zelda, well, all of a sudden this game is woke. Have this on Reddit. Yeah, I know, the bastion of sanity on the internet, but just look at right here. Apparently, playing as Zelda is woke, and there's some screen grabs from some comments on social media about this. Forcing feminism down our throats is a bad tactic. What in the woke hot garbage is this? So woke wave arrived to Hyrule. God have mercy. This is what they were doing instead of TikTok DLC. Tears of the Kingdom DLC. Excuse me. It just looked like TikTok at a glance. Zelda has gone woke. WTF is this? You get the idea. They're not showing who's posting this, but apparently, well, at least according to this user right here, girl gamers, people are upset about this, or at least that's what they're saying. But I personally have my doubts that people are really that upset about it. But let's continue, because we also have this article right here. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is, of course, getting the woke treatment. And the author of this article, if you just click on it right here, this just kind of screams out as someone who would ordinarily be championing content that is considered woke. But I don't know why they're pointing out this sort of thing. And I'm just kind of wondering how many people are actually complaining about it, actually accusing Zelda of being a woke game, because I don't think it's as many as what they're trying to say. I'm not saying absolutely no one would be making these accusations, but I think those are few and far between. And I think they are trying to amplify those few voices, or even just trying to outright create controversy where there's no controversy about this game. In a surprise announcement at Nintendo Direct yesterday, a brand new Legend of Zelda entry was revealed to the world. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom will actually star Zelda this time, something fans of the franchise have been crying out for years to happen. But of course, there is always those who want to spoil the fun and throw hate at the mere concept that Zelda is the main focus this time around, calling the game woke. And then they try to highlight some of the comments that people were making on social media. This one right here, it hasn't even been 12 hours since the announcement of Echoes of Wisdom, and I've already seen everything from the Chuds just hate women to Nintendo will never make a good Zelda game again. The discussion on this is borked. Nintendo infects the Zelda franchise with woke, but for the icing on top of the cake, the worst takes have been highlighted by a user who has called out the total madness that some people say because Zelda is playable and not Link in a Twitter thread, a series of screenshots. So let's take a look at that. Do you see that? First of all, just look at this person. I think this is a person who's happy if something is considered woke. Just a hunch on my part. I don't have any concrete proof or evidence of that. That's the appearance that I'm getting from this. But here's some of the, let's see what their original post said. They made Zelda woke. Yes, get effed. Okay, so this is a person, I guess I am proven right on that. They are happy if something is considered woke. People taking this tweet face value, but these comments are hilarious. Forcing feminism down our throats is a bad tactic. You're not getting more girls or women to play or watch or ruin movie franchises this way. No, ordinarily that's true if that's indeed the tactic here, because you can't just put women in something and then think it'll change the demographic of the audience. If something is predominantly male, then just because you include women in it doesn't mean it's going to be successful. Take sports, for instance. The NBA is very popular with men. WNBA, it's all women, but women don't watch it. The primary audience for that is men, but most men don't watch it either. So it kind of applies to movies, games, and other things, but that's kind of going off on a side tangent. Zelda has gone woke. Okay, very to the point. What in the woke hot garbage is this? End of an era. It's been fun, fellas. Nintendo has been compromised. You get the idea. That's kind of the comments they shared. And I'm not going to say there's no one out there who shares these views, but I think they are few and far between. And I think the vast majority of people think either they don't care about it for completely arbitrary reasons. Maybe they don't like the art design, or they don't think the mechanic looks very fun, or they're just like, I'm not interested in a Zelda game. Fair enough. But I don't think there's people who are saying this looks bad simply because Zelda is the main character this time around. Because I think a lot of people are okay with Zelda being the main character in a Legend of Zelda game. Actually, I still think it should be Legend of Link this time around, but that's another story entirely. But I don't think people are upset about this, at least not to the way that people are trying to claim they're upset about it. And I think the reason why they're trying to push this idea that people are upset about this and calling it woke is because if this game succeeds and they can say, oh, look, a woke game succeeded, so get wrecked chuds and all that other stuff like that. But I think a lot of this is what you would refer to as black propaganda, which is, for people who don't know, black propaganda is when you're trying to masquerade as the opposition side in order to try to make them look bad. It would be like, I don't know, dressing up as someone from another side and then committing a crime so you can make their side look bad. I think that's kind of what they're doing with this. They're basically going around saying like, oh, people are just calling this game woke and other stuff like that and attacking this game. And all the people I see doing that are basically people like this with pronouns and bios and rainbow flags and their names and other things like that. So I don't think the people who they're trying to attack really believe this. A lot of people say this looks like a fun game, and I happen to agree with them on that one. And I think a lot of this just has to do with the fact that there's a narrative that needs to be pushed, because when a game happens like this where they'll gender swap it and they just keep everything else the same, but it's just the inclusion of a female character, or it's done to try to push an agenda where they'll cast aside the male character in order to bring in a strong female character and other things like that. People don't really like it when that's going on. And that's kind of when it's woke, is when it's trying to push an agenda at the cost of the quality of the story or at the quality of the game. So when you have something like this where you change it from having a traditional male character to now the female lead, well, then if people like this, that kind of destroys the narrative, because people normally try to defend it by saying like, oh, well, if you don't like it, you just don't like women and you're an istophobe and other things like that. But if people like this, well, that kind of ruins that argument. So what else are you going to come at them with? And we're seeing that right now when it comes to television. The Acolyte is doing terrible on Disney Plus. Has only a 14% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And you can look at House of the Dragon, that was just released. A show with diverse characters that were race swapped from the book, a show with strong female characters. And no one really cares because it doesn't feel like they're trying to push an agenda. It just feels like they're trying to tell a good story. And as a result, people like this. So this is a show that's completely destroying the argument that people have trying to defend the Acolyte. And I think something like The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom succeeding would be more of the same of that. And that's why they're basically insistent that no, people sincerely hate this, because you really have a win-win in that situation. If you can convince enough people that there's those online who think this is woke and it succeeds, well, then you can say woke stuff succeeded despite what the chuds said. But if it fails, then you can say it's because they hate women. But I don't think people are really buying this approach right now. I think most people are just kind of mocking the idea that there's people like this who are trying to push that narrative, and it's just not landing. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think this game has gone woke? Because like I said, I don't really see it. At least right now, I haven't seen it. And also, if you can, just click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share the video too, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.